Would fiber be like, so called fiber? Don't we have it here in the village?
There's fiber in a couple of buildings in the village, like the old mill site has fiber.
Yeah. And then didn't they have a junction in the Ponderosa place?
There is a junction, but it doesn't go anywhere.
And-
It's just, yeah, that's sort of where
So we are live.
Okay. I'll call to order regular council meeting Monday, December 9th, 2024. Direction of any late items? Seeing none. Adoption of the agenda. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Councillor Reid and Councillor Weitzel, all in favor? Carried.
The first item is the adoption of the minutes, that the minutes from the regular council meeting held November 25th, 2024 be adopted.
Can I get a mover and a seconder? Councillor Stanbury and Councillor Weitzel. Any discussion? Yeah, go ahead.
Just one thing, I don't know, maybe it is a typo, maybe I'm looking at it wrong, but for the first thing on page, it's on our page 3 of the total agenda. Should that say November the 12th or should that say November the 25th?
Sorry, for which item? For the heading or the?
2024.
Oh, it should say November 12th. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's a typo.
I'll correct that.
All in favor? Carried.
Okay, and the next item is the housing needs assessment, that council for the village of Canal Flats adopt the housing needs assessment 2024 as presented.
I got a mover and a second. Councillor Reid and Councillor Stanbury. Any discussion? Go ahead, Councillor.
Took me a little moment to realize that that's the new one from the one we had a week ago, or last meeting, right? Like this is
Yeah.
December as opposed to November. So, item 3 on it, the purchase of land and support of 16 attainable houses as well as opportunities for the additional 16 units, plus commercial space adjacent to the childcare facility. And that's all good. We have 16 in the plans that we received, are 16 new house spaces. 4 of them in the childcare, 4 of them in the live, work, and 8 in the apartment building. So that's 16. Now they've got another 16 units. Nothing about where they're going to be. And housing they're going to be. Are they into another apartment building or is it housing? Or?
It's in the same area, yeah. It's all in that area.
Okay. And that's good. If you go back to the October 28th, the 20.
What page are you on?
Well, this is a brief. I pulled up the page of report that Attainable Housing Center on the 28th of the council meeting. So phase 1 is the childcare, etc. Phase 2 design is complete, and we'll see the construction of 32 additional residential units, of which 16 will be accessible for seniors. We apply for development permits and construction permits in the spring of 2025, which is different than this again. Secondly, if you go down and you look at the summary of technical memorandum on the housing on the 28th meeting, he talks about Granger Road between Burns Avenue and Bailey Drummond Avenue, which is not where the attainable housing land is. It's Flats Road. So that's wrong. Or maybe it's right and this is wrong. I don't know. And then it talks about phase 3, accommodating more houses. So we've got 3 different things going here. I'm not sure.
Well,
And this report doesn't relate to anything we've had in the past.
This
This report, the
attainable housing report?
one today, yes.
No, that is from the provincial government, the attainable housing report. Our,
So-
Nope.
Maybe we can explain why we're accepting this one, which is different than the ones we've received prior.
If I
oh,
may.
yeah, go ahead.
So that is proposed, those are different. So perhaps this recent report that Mr. Wakin prepared missed the housing needs report that was, the draft report was received at the last council meeting. So the additional information may not have made it into the report because they might not have known about it. And the Bailey Groman, I think that's misspeaking because the property does go to flats.
Yeah.
So that might be just a typo, a misspeak from Mr. Wakin's report.
That's a report that he submitted that I guess we missed when we looked at it the first time. This is the November 24th report that the lady
Yeah.
gave us on presentation. And then they come back 2 weeks later with a whole new report. 2024 update final report, which is the same heading as the other one, but that was the final report in November. And now we're changing that. And I'm not sure that we're getting the right information, who's right or what we're actually doing. And here we go again. What's happening on that square of land is unknown and just about everybody.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I may, but this report doesn't say what we have to do.
No.
This report is what we need, the needs of the community. It's a different kind of report. It assists developers to say this is the kind of need. So if you wanted to build another apartment building, say, then this would say whether it's a need or not in the village. So whether the attainable housing completes 32 units, that isn't necessarily tied to this housing needs. This is a study that the province requested us to do. We did one a number of years ago, I think 2020, and then or 2019, sorry.
Yeah.
And then this one now is legislated to do an update. So basically this is just an update of what was done in 2019.
And they'll do it again in 5 years.
Yes, 3.
In 3 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was 5
It's
years.
going to become more often now.
Oh, okay.
So it's not a Bible. It's a plan, it's a want, it's a need. It's sort of a direction of what the village can sustain.
Yeah.
That's to update the zoning bylaw to reflect the provincial requirements. So do we have to do that?
Mhm. By
That's
legislation.
pretty important
Sorry,
change.
through the
Yeah.
mayor.
That's a pretty important change, that we have to consider time and effort.
Yeah.
It's
And we have to pay for it.
It's starts in childcare facilities for 40 to 100. It was not done when we originally started this project. Anticipated to be open in 2025.
If I
Yeah,
may.
go ahead.
So that would be a different plan.
That's not, yeah.
That would be the childcare planning study.
Yeah.
Anything further? Go ahead.
I just, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So it's just maybe if I can, Mr. Mayor, through to Mr. Marcel, Councilor Marcel, the way I understood this to be read is like you're saying, like this is something that was done in 2019. We are now updating this and we can help make some of our strategic decisions based on this. Sounds like, you know, there might have been a bit of a mix, maybe not a mix up, but just the information that ISL used at the time was just kind of what we gave them at the time to put in this report. What I wanted to do, it was a very, very, very detailed report. I just want to make some comments if that's okay, just for the purposes of our meeting.
Sure.
Some things that I found out of it just to be just really interesting things are that we need more families to be here. I think, you know, most of us at this table know this, but I just wanted to kind of be out loud that I think it was 2/3 or 67% of the houses that are in this town are either just single residents or single couple. households. And if we are going to grow as a town, we need to be able to attract more families here. That's one just really big thing we saw there. The rental market also seems to be very, very tight.
Yeah.
In here, I just noticed as well. And one of the items that it did mention is that we're supposed to update our official community plan based on kind of like what the results are that are in here. I think we've talked about it before, but I just couldn't remember. When do we normally update that plan, and when is that plan expected to be updated next?
Go ahead.
Thank you to Councillor Weitzel through the mayor. So the last OCP lasted 15 years. So they're very expensive to do, at least 100,000. We had a grant to do the last one. It was in 2019. Usually in our community, I'm sure larger communities do it more often, but due to lack of funds and resources, we do it as needed. So if there's an OCP amendment, then a person would come in and do an amendment, just like a zoning bylaw amendment. They could do it that way. Now the province is legislating us to add these things into our OCP. We don't really have, I'm speaking from staff perspective, we don't really have a lot of things that we need to change in the OCP. It's working quite well for us, actually. It's never been amended. So I think that's a really good thing. It's this far in, it's 5 years old and never been amended. And I have another thing as well. I will have another change as well. So another staff brought one. So it's probably every 5 years is a good idea to review it, and probably every 10 years to redo it.
It was 2019.
Yes.
We're probably going to amend it fairly soon.
Yes. Sorry if I may interrupt. It was on my to-do list to do this year, but the year got away from me.
Yeah, so it gets done through an amendment. Another thing that I just I saw through the house or through this that I just found again really interesting is that the median household income for owners in our area is $86,000 around there for that, and that's like as a household income. And there was a really noticeable gap in people being able to afford a single family home, which I think was in the $550 to $580 for one with a suite. So there's a big gap in the amount of income somebody's making and being able to actually even afford buying a single family home here, because our property values have gone up quite significantly in the last couple of years. And I just want it to just be on all of our minds as we go through our strategic planning that we, either we have to attract more higher paying job people in here, or house prices aren't, like we're at the mercy of the markets.
Yeah.
For what's going to happen there. But we'll have to think about how we're attracting the residents and the residents that we're attracting so that they can actually afford the homes. And again, I mean it more as just like a comment, not just anything wrong, just things that I've just observed.
No, I agree. And that's what we like our strategic plan. That's a lot of what we were talking about. So, anything further? No. Okay. All in favor? Carried.
Were you in favor?
All opposed?
Opposed?
It's out of date before it got to us.
Pardon me?
See, it's out of date before it got to us.
That's true.
Well, there's not one mention in there of any of the plans that we've actually got. Money that's spent, land that's purchased, or the housing that's already been planned.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also only, if I may, Mr. Mayor, it's also only up to the year 2021, with some projections for what
Yes.
we're doing.
So the next item is the write-off of 2024 property taxes. That Council for the Village of Canal Flats requests the Ministry of Municipal Affairs write off property taxes for folio number 568-007-0019.200 for the years 2022, 2023, and 2024, totaling $568.17, plus penalties in the amount of $56.82, plus interest. Such taxes to be written off due to the moving of the mobile home out of the Village of Canal Flats and without proper certification.
I'm gonna move her in a second. Councillor Marcel, Councillor Stanberry. Discussion. Go ahead.
Just a question, how do we avoid a situation like that even happening? I was trying to think like how can we stop, somebody from ordering a company to come in, pick up their trailer and walk out of town with it without us knowing.
Yeah,
If I may.
yeah, go ahead.
I hate mobile homes.
Yeah.
It happens all the time, all the time. I've been a part of writing off taxes only once before. It was also a mobile home. People move them in without permits. People move them out without permits. They don't register with them, mobile home registry. It's hard to track them down. I say they move them in the cloak of darkness, and that's very common, and especially in rural areas. And technically we're still a rural area, right? It is ultimately, we just moved one out, ironically. The movers approached the village, they got the proper certification. It's all done, legal beagle, we won't have to worry about it. Most times that's what happens, but the odd time these happen. So there isn't really much we can do about mobile homes. If it's a property or a dwelling, this would go to tax sale and it would have been sold for taxes. And that's how we avoid it for that. But a mobile home is a little harder because you can just take it with you.
Further? All in favor? Carried.
And the business regulation and licensing bylaw, that Village of Canal Flats business regulation and licensing bylaw number 270, 2024 be adopted.
Okay, I got a mover and a seconder. Councillor Stanbury and Councillor Reed. Discussion.
No discussion on adoption,
Oh,
sorry.
there's no discussion, sorry.
But Councillor Weitzel
Yeah.
did have a question, so we can, it's up to you.
Yeah, that,
Yeah, okay, so I'll start with what's actually a question rather than discussion. For the campground piece of it, we have one campground in our area. Are they aware of kind of what those changes might mean for them in terms of their documentation?
If I may?
go ahead, yeah.
No,
No.
but no business is. So this is going to be on us, once this is adopted, to start advertising. And while there is some deadlines for March 31st, we're going to be a bit lenient. But for the first year, we want people to comply and we're not going to be putting the hammer down.
And I believe I did talk to them about this coming forward, and they were the same as most of the places in town. So, go ahead.
Yeah, just a comment, page 89, Schedule D. Community events, family events, Halloween.
Oh, that's the
That's
next bylaw.
a different bylaw. Not going down.
This is the page that you referred to in the previous bylaw, didn't it?
We're on the business license.
We're on
Well,
business
that's
license.
That ends at
There's
page
a Schedule
86.
80.
We're on the business
So
license.
we're on the one that ends
Okay,
at page
so
86.
Schedule is schedule.
So
One step ahead of you.
Okay.
No, I thought it was just, they were schedules that are attached to this for the second. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, all in favor? Oh,
Sorry,
go
Mr.
ahead.
Mayor. And you can tell me if this is too much of a comment and we want to save it for later. I was just wondering, like, in regards to like some of the short-term accommodations. We're just reading it. It just, I know we are trying to avoid having more and more short-term here. We're trying to get more long-term people here in the town. I think from that housing needs report, we had like 14 total in the village. Do you find, or are we going to find, maybe this is something that we can bring up for public discussion? It's just, it does feel like a little bit on the restrictive side and also gives a lot of power to the license inspector for determining whether something can be a short-term rental. It might be right in line with provincial guidelines as well. And maybe that's what we can use part of it, but just reading like items 4, 5, and 6 under section 10. It just felt kind of restrictive. If somebody wanted to, maybe take 3 months off and go to Europe and Airbnb their house kind of thing. We want to be able to still provide a level of freedom for our residents to be able to do things and come in out of town and come back into town. And again, it could be more of like something we bring up for more public discussion, but it's just something that was on my mind.
No, that's good. The provincial government has put in some guidelines already, and we're following those pretty good. We are going to be looking at other communities short-term rentals, scenarios. Right now, we're not in a situation that's gonna prohibit us from growing that a little bit, but we also have to make sure it's in the right areas. That's one of the problems that Bernie and Invermere are running into, so we want to avoid that. Go ahead.
If I may, sorry, just for references too, we don't have a category in the village zoning bylaw for short-term rental right now. So it's a preemptive clause.
I see, but
And-
it's going to inform the next.
Yes.
Yeah, and one of the things that has happened too, in people are applying for R1 when it's actually a commercial building, because they're renting it out as a commercial building. We're gonna have to look at, do we now put them under commercial zoning?
And how does, does the province kind of require, like, if somebody's buying a house specifically to Airbnb, VRBO, do they require a different type of zoning for that?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Fernie already has it, they're called the hotels,
Oh, I'm not sure.
they're boutique hotels.
Yeah, okay.
We just did something too, didn't we?
Invermere just, is going through that right now, yes. Okay. All in favor? Carried. All opposed?
And the last bylaw is the fees and charges amendment, that Village of Canal Flats Municipal Fees and Charges Amendment Bylaw number 282, 2024 be adopted.
Yeah, I got a mover and a seconder. Councilor Reid and Councilor Weitzel. All in favor? Any questions? I see you got one there, Max. Councilor
No,
Martel.
well, it isn't so much a question as one of them's wrong. Page 89. Schedule D, that is, so we have community events, family dances, which have $50 a day. And then you have, and one of them is Canal Flats. Charges you $50 a day. The next line is funerals, canal days, and remembrance days, so one's no charge and one's $50. Outings.
Oh,
Well,
Okay.
it should be. no
Yeah.
charge.
So I like.
okay, I think it was just a
Just
typo.
you're,
It's just a
good
typo.
catch, it should be,
It'd be a little confusing.
Yeah. yeah.
So which one is it?
Which one is it? You guys are getting charged double. No,
Yeah.
that's-
Yeah, I'll have to double check that. I don't really know, to be honest. Where did I change it? Just a moment.
So this.
No, they both say that, both versions. So we can defer this to January if council wishes, or I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why it's on there both times.
I asked that nowadays all facilities be free, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I got my wish.
It was already there.
Yeah, yeah.
It was already there.
We have to make a.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
just
just
strike
strike it from the charge. I think the free ones is correct. And I think the canal days above is wrong. So, yeah, so I can just change it.
Thank you. All in favor? Oh,
What if you can explain, page 92, still in the right thing. Wages and rates. That's just page 92. There's a statement under the water shut off valves. It's under the cross contamination. And there's two items below. One's water shut off and turn on. And then what's the next line actually mean? Water shut off valves must be located at the property's owner's cost prior to turning water off.
Well, that would be, if I may.
yeah, go ahead.
That would be part of the new cross contamination control bylaw, and right off the top of my head, I'm not familiar with it.
Shut off valves
So-
Must
If
be
it was on
located
their
on the
property,
property's
we
owner.
had to have access to it.
Don't understand what it says. Water shut off valves.
Needs to be found.
must be located at the property, needs to be found.
That's how I read it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so owner's cost prior to turning water, so they gotta go and find the guy that tells them where the shutoffs.
Or just.
And, well, they got shut off
Most
too.
of them are- Most of them are obvious.
Mr. Mayor, aren't
Yeah.
those shut off valves like in the home, like the main valve, or is there? a
No,
valve-
there's one out on
There's
this,
out-
out front, yeah,
Okay.
everybody has one out
That's
front.
so, this is pretty cross contamination. That's-
I'm not sure, but I can inquire. This was prepared by MTS,
Yeah.
the people that are doing it, so it must be pretty standard, I'm going to say. And I can inquire about it and return that back to council. It may, from my perspective, it sounds accurate because water shutoff valves must be located at the property owner's cost. So it means we aren't going to look around on your property if you don't know where your valve is.
So if you've buried it,
Right.
then you're responsible for
Yeah.
uncovering it and
And
finding it,
that's,
right?
you'll find a lot of those in,
So one's your curb stop, the other one's a well, or
Or-
whatever else you have.
yeah,
Or another well, or another valve somewhere else.
because in subdivision, you'll find lots that are buried. And you have to search for them. Okay,
I think they came through and marked them all a couple of years ago.
Oh.
In subdivision.
all in favor? Carry, all opposed? So carry.
And now we convene to in camera, that the meeting convened to in camera per Community Charter Section 91M, a matter that under any other enactment is such that the public may be excluded from the meeting at 6:57.
Can I get a mover and a seconder? Councillor Reed, Councillor Perry, all in favor? Carry.